What's up everyone? Today is getting all the parts in the warehouse out to Colin's place, out to Butler Automotive to drop off, and he can start work on getting the DC5 put together. So got a K24 that's been sitting around for a while, got a 6-speed LSD Type R gearbox sitting around, combination clutch twin plate which got mounted on a car from a customer that didn't end up using it. Something happened with the build, changed direction, so got that back off there a little while ago, so we'll chuck that in. Yeah, it's overkill, but it's here and I don't have any other clutches or flywheels lying around. I don't want to pull one off the shelf. Got a pile of parts there, some of those will need to go. And then let's have a look here. This is kind of my shelf of doom. We've got some shuttle four-wheel drive bits and other stuff. I think I've got a wiring harness there that'll work. Yeah, some bits and pieces. Got intake manifold hiding. Got the trans for the drag car with the PPG bits inside. So anyway, we'll do a little bit of a look through everything and get it loaded up on the ute.
One, two, three.
Yeah, just tilt it, just drop it forward. Come on, I didn't realise you
I didn't realise you had to jump into it. That's for cardboard, Nick Minute.
Almost at Colin's workshop, but only a couple of minutes away is this cool little noodle joint right there, and then 2 shops down right here is my old shop. So where you can see the small business accounting, that is where I used to have a shop called AAP Imports, and we did all the same kind of stuff as Speed Science back in like 2008, 2009. So whenever I'm in this part of town, it's always kind of fun to stop by. That was my introduction to this whole scene. I started working there in, it's that blue building. Started working there just part-time while I was doing some study. Ended up working there full-time when I'd finished some study. What I was doing some audio engineering, recording studio, theoretical training. Didn't end up kind of being a career path that was going to work, so had been working at the little speed shop called FBI Performance, which was one of New Zealand's kind of original part shops. And yeah, to cut a long story short, ended up owning that shop for a couple of years and sold it and went overseas and spent some time in the States. Came back, had a kid, and started up Speed Science. So always fun to be in this part of town and yeah, just see what's going down. So made it to Colin's, had a feed. So we've got the motor on the ground, found an alternator that I had, so that'll go on. We've got the trans, clutch, K Pro. I had a charge harness and a wiring harness lying around, so that's cool. And then Colin's got a spares motor, so we'll grab the aircon pump, thermostat housing, power steering pump, a few other bits and pieces. It's like a treasure trove of engines around here, so there's no shortage of parts. And just something I found which is super cool while we were having lunch is we were talking about my old business, and Colin's still got one of the lanyards. We probably made these back in 2003 if I had to guess. Still looking pretty good. So obviously it's our new one, so that's pretty cool. That's probably about it from here. We'll keep scrounging bits in the warehouse, and Colin, I'm sure, will give me a list of stuff that I need and anything that he doesn't have lying around here. So just on my way to Butler Automotive to drop off some more parts for the DC5 Colin's got the engine and trans, everything's all prepped to go in. But today's a bit of a tough one. I woke up this morning with a message on my phone from the boys at Speed Factory showing me what happened to their car yesterday at the track. If you haven't already seen the footage, they had a problem at the top end. The car got loose and hit the wall extremely hard, about 180 mile an hour, which is about 280 k's. I have seen footage of the video, which might be publicly released now, but it was an extremely awkward impact. Where it hit, it didn't just glance the wall, it kind of hit where the return road, the early return road is off, and it kind of glanced right into the corner of the wall where it goes straight and where it goes kind of 90 degrees off to the side of the track, and it hit extremely hard right on there, and then just shunted the car straight across to the other side of the track, and it hit the wall extremely hard on that side. Thankfully, James Kemp, who drives the car, is okay. He's got some moderate injuries, which you can expect, but nothing that he won't recover from, and nothing serious. And that's just testament to how well the car was built, the safety equipment. James uses a Hans device, which almost certainly saved his life. The trauma that his neck would have gone through with such a hard impact, it just wouldn't have survived it as hard as the car stopped on that impact. The correct roll cage for as quick as they're going. You'll have seen the pictures. The driver containment area was completely intact with really no damage to that part of the roll cage, and everything else that's supposed to absorb the impact did. So yeah, so that's the good news. It's only a car, and cars can be remade and rebuilt, but humans can't. So definitely feeling heavy. I've spent a lot of time with the Speed Factory guys. If you haven't already seen some of the other videos on our channel, just check the link below and in the description. I've been over with my GoPro on a few trips, and then previous years before we started the channel, spent a lot of time with those guys, and they feel a bit like family to me, so it's hard to be away from them this far away at the moment. And our borders down here in New Zealand seem like they're going to be locked down for maybe the next 12 months even to long haul overseas travel, so it's going to be ages before we can get back over there. But anyway, James is fine. The team are obviously just dealing with the kind of shock and aftermath of what's gone down. They were going to retire the car and did want to have it kind of on display, and so I don't know if they'll still do that in the state it's in, or what's going to happen. The good news, of course, is if you follow their social media or even ours, is that they've had a new chassis being built, I think since the end of last year or the very beginning of this year, at NRG Tech on the East Coast. Those guys are the legit chassis builders for import racing, and what they've created is probably the neatest Honda drag racing chassis you'll ever see. Do jump on their Facebook page, that's NRG Tech, and have a look. Also, there's a bunch of pictures on the Speed Factory page too, and someone else. So they were going to transfer a whole bunch of bits from the Outlaw car into that new car just to be able to get it going, to get some testing in before World Cup. Not sure how much is salvageable from the Outlaw car. From the pictures, it looks like the trans is okay. Everything kind of on the front left looked like it might be alright, so I don't know, maybe turbo manifold, the engine itself being billet, pretty tough. So anyway, those guys will get onto that when they've had a chance to decompress. Motorsport is dangerous, and safety should never ever be shortcut. For sure, the safety aspects they had in the car, the nature of the cage, the Hans device that James wears, 100% saved his life. So really important, guys. If you feel like your car isn't as safe as it should be, please talk to someone, talk to us, talk to your kind of local safety shop wherever you're at, and make sure it's up to scratch. Made it. Gonna give this bad boy a push. The last time it's gonna be pushed.
Okay, I wanna do it?
Yeah.
I think it's in the car though. Oh, he's in the car.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Need to get some lowering on the front of this bad boy. So we've got the motor and trans here ready to go. We'll just do a run through for those of you who kind of aren't familiar with what happens to a K24 when it gets ready for prep and going in a car kind of modified in a high spec format, we'll say. So starting at the bottom, we've got the Integra Type R oil pump conversion done. So that's the pump, windage tray, oil pump chain, oil pump guide, and then you block off a little jet. Colin's got the air conditioning, alternator, power steering all back together again. We've got the DC5 Type R loom on there. We've got the trans actually that I had, this part was completely broken off, I didn't even realize. So Colin had a spare trans, so we got a new outer casing. The shifter unit here had been modified in an unusual way, so that's done. Swapped out to a 50-degree VTC, which allows the VTEC to do its thing. CRV bracket so that it mounts back up with the DC5 bracket here. New oil filter, we had to find an intermediate shaft, so that's on. Colin had a much nicer looking rocker cover, so that's on. Was there anything else, Colin, you can remember?
No, everything's okay. We put brand new flywheel bolts.
Oh yeah, it's got the twin plate on there.
Yeah, it's got 2 pin on it, new flywheel bolts on it, a couple of bell housing bolts.
We did need the different orientation thermostat housing pointing down to suit the DC5 hoses. And then over here we've got some new bits going on, so I happen to have a old DC5 manifold and throttle bodies. We've got a map sensor and a TPS we can pinch. Managed to find a idle control valve, so that's cool. And then we've got a Skunk 2 Pro Series manifold. Here's all the hardware and thermal manifold gasket, and then 74mm billet S90 throttle body. We'll just chuck the factory fuel rail injectors and stuff back on for now, and that is pretty much it, ready to go on. So we'll get this moved over to the car, get an engine crane in action. We'll actually probably lift it up on the hoist and drop the car over the motor. So yeah, we'll get to it. Right, so as you can see, the motor's in. So basically just all the last little bits of wiring hookup and fluids and axles and stuff. It's kind of done for the day here on a Friday. It's almost home time, so I'm gonna let the boys clean up and head home, and we'll check back in next week after the weekend and see the finished product. Should almost be done, or just get some updates on what's going on. So stay safe, stay out of trouble, make sure your cars are safe. Can't say that enough. We'll catch you in the next one. See ya.